Kuyajino yena makho niniyate. Kurvadhvarasyodharanam hatasya bhoh. Tvaya samaptasya mano prajapateh. Nayatra bhagam tava bhagino dadu. Kuyajino yena makho niniyate. Yes. Vatyos dharanam hatasya bho. Tvaya samaptasya mano prajapate. Nayatra bhagam tava bhagino dadu. Kuyajino yena makho niniyate. Kurvadhvarasyodharanam hatasya bho. Tvaya samaptasya mano prajapate. Nayatra bhagam tava bhagino dadu. Kuyajino yena makho niniyate. Tvarasyodharanam hatasya bho. Mataji, okay. Word to word. Kuru, just execute. Advarasya, of the sacrifice. Uddharanam, complete regularly. Hatasya, killed. Bhoho, oh. Tvaya, by you. Asamaptasya, of the unfinished sacrifice. Mano, O Lord Shiva. Prajapatehe, of Maharaj Daksha. Na, not. Yatra, where. Bhagam, share. Tava, your. Bhaginaha, deserving to take the share. Daduhu, did not give. Kuyajinaha, bad priests. Yena, by the bestower. Makhaha, sacrifice. Niniyate, gets the result. Translation and purport. Okay, there is no purport, so we'll read up to the verse where there is a purport, which is the last verse. Translation. My dear Lord Shiva, you are a shareholder of a portion of the sacrifice, and you are the giver of the result. The bad priest did not deliver your share, and therefore you destroyed everything. And the sacrifice remains unfinished. Now you can do the needful and take your rightful share. So we'll read up to the verse which has the purport. Jivatadhyajamano yam prapaddeta bhagaha bhrugosmashvruni rohantu pushnodantascha purvavat. Translation. My dear Lord, by your mercy the performer of the sacrifice, King Daksha, may get back his life, Bhaga may get back his eyes, Bhrugu his moustache, and Pusha his teeth. Devanam bhagna gatranam ritwijam cha yudashmabhih bhavatano grahitanam ashumanyostwanarutam. O Lord Shiva, may the demigods and the priests whose limbs have been broken by your soldiers recover from the injuries by your grace. And this is the last verse now of this chapter. Yeshate rudra bhagostu yaducheshtodhvarasya vai yajnaste rudra bhagena kalpadamadya yajnahan. Translation. O destroyer of the sacrifice, please take your portion of the sacrifice and let the sacrifice be completed by your grace. Purport. A sacrifice is a ceremony performed to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In the Srimad-Bhagavatam 1st Canto 2nd chapter, it is stated that everyone should try to understand whether the Supreme Personality of Godhead is satisfied by his activity. In other words, the aim of our activities should be to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Just as in an office it is the duty of the worker to see that the proprietor or the master is satisfied, so everyone's duty is to see whether the Supreme Personality of Godhead is satisfied by one's activity. Activities to satisfy the Supreme Godhead are prescribed in the Vedic literature, and execution of such activities is called yajna. In other words, acting on behalf of the Supreme Lord is called yajna. One should know very well that any activity besides yajna is the cause of material bondage. That is explained in Bhagavad Gita 3.9. Yajna arthat karmanonyatra lokoyam karma bandhanaha. Karma bandhanaha means that if we do not work for the satisfaction of Supreme Lord Vishnu, then the reaction of our work will bind us. One should not work for his own sense gratification. Everyone should work for the satisfaction of the Lord. That is called yajna. After the yajna was performed by Daksha, all the demigods expected prasada, the remnants of foodstuffs offered to Vishnu. Lord Shiva is one of the demigods, so naturally he also expected his share of the prasad from the yajna. But Daksha, out of his envy of Lord Shiva, neither invited Shiva to participate in the yajna, nor gave him his share after the offering. But after the destruction of yajna arena by the followers of Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma pacified him and assured him that he would get his share of prasad. Thus he was requested to rectify whatever destruction was caused by his followers. In Bhagavad Gita, it is said that all the demigods are satisfied when one performs yajna. Because the demigods expect prasad from yajnas, yajna must be performed. Those who engage in sense gratificatory materialistic activities must perform yajna, otherwise they will be implicated. Thus Daksha, being the father of mankind, was performing yajna and Lord Shiva expected his share. But since Shiva was not invited, there was trouble. By the mediation of Lord Brahma, however, everything was settled satisfactorily. The performance of yajna is a very difficult task because all the demigods must be invited to participate in the yajna. In this Kali Yuga, it is not possible to perform such costly sacrifices, nor is it possible to invite the demigods to participate. Therefore, in this age, it is recommended Yajne Sankirtana Prayer Yajantihi Sumedhasaha. Bhagavatam 11.5.32. Those who are intelligent should know that in the Kali Yuga there is no possibility of performing the Vedic sacrifices. But unless one pleases the demigods, there will be no regulated seasonal activities or rainfall. Everything is controlled by the demigods. Under the circumstances in this age, in order to keep the balance of social peace and prosperity, all intelligent men should execute the performance of Sankirtan Yajna by chanting the holy names Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. One should invite people, chant Hare Krishna, and then distribute prasad. This yajna will satisfy all the demigods, and thus there will be peace and prosperity in the world. Another difficulty in performing the Vedic rituals is that if one fails to satisfy even one demigod out of the many hundred of thousands of demigods, just as Daksha failed to satisfy Lord Shiva, there will be disaster. But in this age, the performance of sacrifice has been simplified. One can chant Hare Krishna, and by pleasing Krishna, one can satisfy all the demigods automatically. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports to the 4th canto, 6th chapter of Srimad-Bhagavatam, entitled Brahma Satisfies Lord Shiva. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. So this chapter is over here. Hare Krishna. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasadi Gauravakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So my humble obeisances to all the devotees, and I feel very fortunate, very blessed to be here in ISKCON Simhachalam Dham at the lotus feet of Shri Shri Prahlad Lakshmi Nrsimhadev. So this is a great mercy actually of Srila Prabhupada, that wherever we go there are Hare Krishna temples and devotees. I mean, before Srila Prabhupada it would have been unimaginable that you go in any part of the world and you get to stay in a temple, in a Hare Krishna temple. But literally, I mean, I personally am witnessing this, that in the visit, wherever I am going, I am getting to stay in a temple. So it is just actually mercy of Srila Prabhupada and his dedicated followers, all the devotees, that there has been, I mean, in this desert-like material world, there are oases everywhere where we want to go and share Krishna consciousness. So I seek blessings of Srila Prabhupada and all the assembled devotees that I can speak something on this verse in this section in Srimad-Bhagavatam. So this section has been, I think it's going on for some time, and especially this is 4th canto. So in 4th canto, the topic of discussion in Srimad-Bhagavatam is Visarga. Visarga is the secondary creation. As you all know, there are 10 topics in Srimad-Bhagavatam. Atra sargo visargascha sthanam poshanam utayah manvantareshanu katha nirodho muktirashraya. These are the 10 topics in Srimad-Bhagavatam. And Srimad-Bhagavatam has 12 cantos, but the topics are 10, like that. So these 10 cantos, right from first canto, these 10 topics, they can be ascribed to a particular canto. Like Srila Jiva Goswami has analyzed this. Prabhupada also mentions in his purport that second canto primarily deals with creation, sarga. Then third and fourth deal with visarga, secondary creation. And then fifth canto deals with sthanam, planetary system. Sixth canto deals with poshanam, protection by the Lord. So each one of the canto can be ascribed to deal or to discuss a particular topic. But Srila Jiva Goswami also mentions that all the topics of Bhagavatam are scattered in entire Bhagavatam, So although this section that we are studying is speaking about secondary creation, but it is also discussing aspects about bhakti. Secondary creation, it's a specific, creation done by Brahma and Brahma's sons and Prajapatis and all that. But this section is also discussing lessons for bhakti. It is discussing aspects of poshanam, protection by the Lord. It's discussing aspects of ashraya tattva, which means the absolute truth, samam bonam, So, like, if you go to Varanasi, Banaras, so it is said that Banaras is a city of Pandits, Pandits, all the learned scholars, like that. But if you go to Varanasi, it's not that you catch anyone and he is a Pandita, right? Primarily, it is a city of Pandits. There are a lot of Sanskrit scholars there, but not that everyone is a Sanskrit scholar. So similarly, Srimad-Bhagavatam's cantos, they describe one particular topic prominently, And that's why that topic is ascribed to that particular canto. But there are also other topics in it, like in this particular section also we are seeing a very beautiful explanation of, importance of avoiding envy, right? How envy is very disastrous, and that can be seen over here like that, So through Prabhupada's purports and through the commentaries, we understand that what does a pastime stand for. So especially this particular pastime of Daksha and Daksha offending Lord Shiva is talking the danger and disaster of envy, how envy could lead to a great disaster. So I'm sure that topic has been discussed in the prior sessions also. But especially one peculiar point about Daksha was that, Kunti Maharani speaks about 4 kinds of, 4 qualities that can become disqualification in the practice of bhakti. She speaks about 4 pitfalls that can cause in bhakti somebody can become proud. So she speaks about that in her prayers. Janma Ishwarya Shruta Shribhir Yedhamana Madah Puman Naivar Hatya Bhidhatum Vai Tvama Kinjana Gocharam. So she says that these 4 qualities, Janma, Aishwarya, Shruta and Shri, they are often the cause of great pride. And then if one becomes proud, then one tends to offend the devotees. So what is Janma? Janma is a great parentage. One is born in a very great family, great parentage. It could be a great Brahmana family or a family of great wealthy people. One is born in a very, wealthy family, very powerful family, in terms of money power or in terms of, the political power. So that is Janma. Aishwarya is the especially wealth. One has a great wealth. So that wealth also can become a cause of downfall because one may become proud of wealth. Shri is the personal beauty. One is very beautiful. So naturally, beautiful people sometimes they have that. They have great pride that they are very beautiful and they may see others as looking like cockroaches or or whatever. And then last one is Shruta. Shruta is the great learning. So in Vedic context it would mean a great learning of Shastras, you are a great learned scholar of Vedanta, Sanskrit and Vedas. And in the modern, postmodern context it would mean, Prabhupada would say you have MA, BA, PA, PhD, right, huge degrees you have, you have great learning, one is graduate from Harvard, Princeton, Yale, Oxford, such huge universities. So in this way these 4 are considered to be the causes of downfall. Janma, Aishwarya, Shruta, Shri. And peculiarity with, so one of them is also, one of them also can lead to pride. But peculiarity with Daksha was he had all 4. Shri Lakshmi Prahlad Narsimhadev Bhagwan ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So the situation, the precarious situation of Daksha was that he had all 4 actually. He had a great parentage, he was born from Brahma, he had great learning, he was very learned scholar of the Vedas, he knew all the karma kand sacrifices and everything. He was very beautiful also. That's why later he was awarded a goat head. Because you are very beautiful, you think, I'm so beautiful, take a goat head. Goats are not considered to be very beautiful, right? Maybe the PETA organizers will have trouble with such a statement, but yeah, they are considered to be not like very beautiful goat. So he was offered a goat head later. And he obviously had a great wealth also, being a Prajapati. So he had great wealth. So because of which, all 4 factors, Janma, Aishwarya, Shruta, Shri, a great parentage, great education, great wealth, great personal beauty. So he became offensive towards Lord Shiva, who had, you can say, who has, although he is most exalted, but he has opposite characteristics, right? How Lord Shiva dresses, how Lord Shiva wanders, right? He is a very bewildering personality. So that's how when Sati chose Lord Shiva as the husband, so Daksha was not very happy, and Daksha became inimical towards Lord Shiva. And because of that the inimical nature, because of that envy, he used to also feel that why Lord Shiva is so much respected, when actually I am qualified in all sense. Why is Lord Shiva so much respected? So in this way, because of that great pride and envy towards Lord Shiva, he offended, Lord Shiva. In fact, after he offended Lord Shiva by cursing, all of you know the episode, this has happened in prior chapters. After he offended Lord Shiva by cursing, after that he was also made head of the Prajapatis, He had already cursed Lord Shiva, saying, you will not get the share of the sacrifice. But after that he was made head of the Prajapatis. And there, interesting point is mentioned by Prabhupada and also the Acharyas, that because of his offensive mentality, the wealth that he received was actually for his further downfall. The wealth that he received, see, in general, when you receive great wealth, when you receive great opulence in this world, it will be considered mercy of the Lord, right? Naturally people think that it is like mercy of the Lord. We are receiving some mercy. But in case of Daksha, that opulence which he got as the head of the progenitors, Prajapatis, that was for further downfall. Because he was already very offensive, and then you receive wealth, it is going to take you further down. He became all the more proud, and he felt like, he doesn't have to even invite Lord Shiva for any sacrifice. So when he performed the second sacrifice called Brahaspati Stava, he didn't even bother to invite Sati or Lord Shiva like that, which was actually a very great insult towards Lord Shiva. So what I'm trying to say is, sometimes the material opulence may come in our life, but actually whether it is mercy of Krishna or whether it is going to take us to downfall, that depends on what we do with that. Phalena parichiyate, it is said that something can be judged by its fruits, So, if somebody is getting a great wealth, opulence, and still maintaining humility, still using it in Krishna's service, still using it in service of Vaishnavas, and is able to maintain the, you can say, simplicity and humility of a Vaishnava, so we can understand that such a person is really blessed, that in spite of such opulences, one is able to maintain the humility, simplicity, like that. This is also mentioned by Vaman Dev in 8th canto to Bali. He says that usually speaking, the great wealth, the great parentage, or the great wealth, the great personal beauty, they are considered to be obstacles in bhakti, because one tends to become proud. But he says if somebody has those and still he is very humble devotee, so we can know that Lord has specially favored that person. It's a very special mercy on him, that in spite of all those things, one is able to keep his foot on the ground and keep maintain that humility, simplicity, the proper Vaishnava etiquette, this way. So in case of Daksha, it was not like that. He already had a great pride, and when he received the wealth, it became cause of a greater fall for him. So that's how. As far as Lord Shiva is considered, like we see in this series of verses, Prabhupada is also addressing this point, that after the yajna was performed by Daksha, all the demigods expected prasad. See, when you perform a yajna and you offer the oblations in the yajna, so offering all those oblations, it's actually for the pleasure of Lord Vishnu and also for the pleasure of all the demigods who are servants of Lord Vishnu. So, in this particular case, when Daksha did not want to invite Lord Shiva for share of the sacrifice, and when he cursed like that may you not get any share of the sacrifice, Lord Shiva internally was hardly bothered about the share of the sacrifice. He did not worry about that particular thing. Here also Prabhupada is addressing that idea, so I'll speak on it. See, as far as Lord Shiva is considered, for him not to get the share of sacrifice was not a big deal. He was not bothered about it so much. But he was displeased, he was disappointed with the mentality of this Daksha. His mentality was not good. His mentality was not proper of disrespecting, Shiva and disrespecting the demigods, in a way like that. See, as far as Lord Shiva not getting the share of the sacrifice, it's mentioned that Vishwanath Chakravarti also mentions in his commentary. When it was told that Lord Shiva will not receive, meaning when Daksha said that Lord Shiva will not receive the share of the sacrifice, Lord Shiva became happy internally. Oh, okay, good. I don't have to, be with these demigods, taking the share of sacrifice. Anyway, all these guys are mixed devotees. They are not, they are interested in their demigod shares and all. So Lord Shiva became happy within it, within his heart. Vishwanath Chakravarti explains that like that. So, you curse a Vaishnava or you insult a Vaishnava, it's like, very nice there. See, something like the meaning intended by Saraswati. If you see when Hiranyakashipu criticizes Prahlad, or when, Indra criticizes Lord Krishna, So it is like throwing some, garland of footwears on somebody, those words of criticism, right? In India, when you throw a garland of footwears, it is considered a very great insult. Probably in any place, right? Probably. So, the words which are, spoken as an insult towards Vaishnavas, when somebody does that, he is trying to throw a garland of footwear, shoes on somebody. But what happens, that Vaishnava is so exalted that when that garland is traveling from the insulter to that Vaishnava, it turns into the garland of flowers. And that falls into him as flowers. So what am I trying to say is, although the words like, Hiranyakashipu criticizes Prahlad, or Hiranyakashipu criticizes Lord Narasimha, or, this Indra criticized Lord Krishna. So what happens, those words, Saraswati Devi takes another meaning of those words. Yeah, that is called as Sarasvatartha in Sanskrit. That how does Saraswati interpret those words, and those insults turn into glorification, like that, So when you try to insult Vaishnavas, you are at yourself at loss, and the insult also doesn't go to him. So it's two-way loss, you can see. Anyway, you cannot insult him because, Saraswati will not allow that, especially with pure devotees, especially with Supreme Lord. It doesn't reach them. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati gives the example of spitting on the sky. You spit on the sky, what happens? It comes back to you, it falls on you, like that. So you spit on the sky, it will never reach the sky. Instead, you will be, smitten by that spitting. So similarly, when Daksha tried to insult Lord Shiva, Saraswati changed the words of Daksha and said that, oh, okay, this is actually not a curse, this is a blessing. Lord Shiva doesn't have to sit with those materialistic demigods. Like that, this way. But then from the side of Daksha, because he intended evil, he intended insult, so he is going to get the reaction. It's not like he will not get the reaction. So, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, that's why tells that we should never criticize, great Vaishnavas, we should never criticize the Supreme Lord, because first and foremost, they will not be affected by that criticism, and second, that we will ourselves get, doomed, we will ourselves get reaction for that particular criticism, like that. So here, it's happening with Daksha also, we see in this particular manner. Of course, if we have some evaluation of a situation, there is a proper way to express it. We can express it to the superiors that this is what I feel, this situation should be reformed in this manner. I feel this is not good, like that. But then especially criticism or envy and words directed by envy towards Vaishnava, they can be very disastrous for our spiritual life, like that. So we see in Daksha's example, this is being very prominently seen over here, like that. So now coming to especially the purport, the purport of Prabhupada, he has touched many themes. So I'll just touch 3 themes from Prabhupada's purport and maybe then we can pause. So in the first paragraph, Prabhupada says that a sacrifice is a ceremony performed to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In the Srimad-Bhagavatam, 1st canto, 2nd chapter, it is stated that everyone should try to understand whether the Supreme Personality of Godhead is satisfied by his activity. So actually, this is the standard of Bhagavatam. In general, Vedas, they speak that one should become God conscious. But the standard of Bhagavatam is very high. Bhagavatam, it starts with this premise that one should only serve the Supreme Lord for his satisfaction and nothing for the personal satisfaction. That is like standard of the Bhagavatam. Just the second verse, Dharmaha projjita kaitavotra paramo nirmatsaranam satam vedyam vastavamatra vastu shivadam tapatrayon mulanam Srimad-Bhagavate Mahamuni Krite Kimva Parerishvara Sadyo Radhya Varudhyatetra Kritibhi Shushrusubhis Tatkshanad. Projita Kaitavaha. Srimad-Bhagavatam, right in the beginning, it is kicking out all the Kaitava. Kaitava means all the cheating religions. And what is the standard of Bhagavatam's cheating religion? Karmakand. And the desire for impersonal liberation, the desire for materialistic benefits, that is itself considered a kaitava. That itself is considered cheating religion. So actually, if you see the overall house of the Vedas, it allows you to perform some sacrifices and get some material benefits. Or there is this path of jnana, where one desires to merge in the impersonal Brahma, So these paths within the house of the Vedas, they are considered to be better than being an atheist or like that, If somebody is an atheist and if somebody is performing the path of ritualistic sacrifices, karmakand, who is better amongst them between the atheist and between the karmakand sacrifices? The one who is performing karmakand sacrifice. Now you compare karmakand sacrifices and jnanakand, the impersonal moksha. Who is considered higher? The impersonal moksha. That person is considered higher because he is shunning away all the material enjoyment. And he is, aspiring for vairagya, renunciation and knowledge, knowing that I am not the body, I am the spirit soul. But that same path, when it is compared to bhakti, what is considered higher? Bhakti is considered higher. So this is how sometimes, when even students in India, when they see bhakti, they feel like, okay, bhakti is there, and then there is also demigod worship, there is also this impersonal meditation. It's all one, you just accept any path and it's good. Like that they will say. But they don't understand that within Veda also there is gradation. Like that. Like one time a father was there and his son came home saying that, Dad, today I got results, my grades. So he said, how much did you get? So I got 70%, Oh, he said, very nice, 70%, good, 70% marks, Here probably you have grades A, B, C or whatever, like you can understand. 1 to 6, yeah. So another son also, he came and he said, today I also got my results, my grades. How much did you get? 70%. You nonsense, you just got 70%, the first son, he said 70%, very nice, I have a gift for you. Another person, he said 70%, just 70%, what is this, So how is that both of them got 70%, but then he is appreciating one and he is chastising another? What could be the reason? Yeah? Their capacity, very nice. Yes, Prabhu. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so yes, you are there on the point. Well, all these years, the prior years, the one who got 70%, the first boy, he was getting only 50% before, and now he has got 70%, so he has improved his grades very much. While the other one, all his years till now, he has been getting 95%, and now he has got 70%. So you can see there is a frame of reference, right, to judge, what is good and what is not that good. You have to know what is the frame of reference you are looking at. So similarly, when you speak from atheistic life, life of an atheist or just a plain materialist's life who has nothing to do with the spiritual life, then the karma kand is glorified, with that frame of reference. Instead of being an atheist, at least you are coming to the path of the Vedas. You are performing some sacrifices to get some material benefit. It's fine, it's good, like that. Because the frame of reference there is the atheistic life. From there, this progress is very nice. But then bhakti is so high, from that angle if we see the karma kand, meaning the sacrifices or like that, then even the karma kand or even the impersonal liberation, that becomes like very low, then it gets criticized, like that. So that's why in bhakti, Bhagavatam is beginning by kicking out all the cheating religions, and that cheating religion includes this karma kand and this impersonal liberation and all. So what I want to say is Bhagavatam standard is very high, It's beginning from the highest standard actually. It's not even there within the Vedas. It is beyond Vedas also. Bhagavatam is like very high, higher than even the Vedas in terms of its aspiration, like that. And that's why it is considered nigama kalpataror galitam phalam. It is considered the ripened fruit of a tree. A tree, you can get many things from a tree. You can get sap, you can get leaves, you can get some wood, like that. But what's the best offering of a tree? It's the fruit, right? Fruit is considered the best offering of a tree. So that's why Bhagavatam is considered that fruit of the tree of Vedic literatures. It's the best, like that. So Vishwanath Chakravarti says, those who are followers of Srimad-Bhagavatam, they have the sweetest fruit from the tallest branch of the Vedas. If you compare Vedas to a tree, the sweetest fruit from the tallest branch, like that. So that's what, we are not aspiring for anything less than that, like that. So Prabhupada is also mentioning here, first canto, second chapter, it is stated everyone should try to understand that whether Supreme Personality is satisfied by one's activities. So that is the verse, Atah Pumbir Dvijasreshtha Varnashrama Vibhagashaha Swanushthitasya Dharmasya Samsiddhir Haritoshanam. Haritoshanam, satisfaction of Lord Hari. That's the most important principle. Whenever we do something, is Lord happy with my service? Is he being pleased? Let me do this for Krishna's pleasure, not for any other purpose, not for my self-aggrandizement, not for just, what to do, I have to do service if I have to stay here. Not with that attitude, but purely for Krishna's pleasure. Let me do this for Krishna Priti, Krishna's pleasure. If we have that kind of attitude, that's the perfect attitude when we are rendering any service. And Prabhupada is saying about that in the purport. The second aspect about how it was duty of Daksha that the prasad or the remnants of the Lord, they should have been offered to the demigods. See, Lord Shiva is certainly not a demigod, if you see. Lord Shiva performs the function of a demigod, but he is not exactly a demigod. Lord Shiva is considered to be, you all know that he is Shambhu Tattva, And as Shambhu Tattva, basically, he is Supreme Lord only, but he is Supreme Lord in the touch of the mode of ignorance. So he has willingly chosen that kind of role, Lord Shiva. So Lord Shiva, he may be counted amongst the demigods, but he is not a demigod exactly. Just like Lord Vishnu also is counted amongst the demigods sometimes, but he is not a demigod. He is not a devata. We know. So similarly with Lord Shiva, so he performs the function of the destruction, and that's why he is considered to be one of the devatas, and he is Gunavatar. He is the incarnation of the mode of ignorance. But it was duty of Daksha to properly respect Shiva actually. It was very important that Daksha should have properly respected Shiva by giving him that sacrificial share, because it is very appropriate, Shiva being one of the empowered representatives. But Daksha did not do that, and that's why the whole disaster, here we see that. So we also learn in our life that we should be able to offer proper respect to the Vaishnavas. Whenever we are dealing with Vaishnavas in our life, we have to make sure that we offer them proper respect. They may not mind, because a Vaishnava has that attitude of amani namana dena. They may not expect anything. But if from our side we are failing, then the Supreme Lord will not be very happy, like that. So a Vaishnava may not take any offense or like that. But in our own life, we might be, Krishna will consider that, oh, this person is not very respectful towards Vaishnavas. So especially coming to, great exalted Vaishnavas, Guru Maharaj, and, very exalted Vaishnavas, we become very, very careful in making sure that we offer the proper respect to them. So here in this case, Daksha's envy caused that disrespect, and that's why we see that so much of disaster. Somebody losing mustache and beard, another guy losing, Pusha losing his teeth, and someone losing his head only, right? Daksha lost the head, and he was given goat head. And like that, he had to be in that goat head for many, many manvantaras, huge time he had to be like that, So this is how the proper right attitude towards devatas should also be maintained, although they are, they technically come in a category called as karma mishra bhaktas, meaning what? Devatas are devotees, but they are devotees attached to their posts and attached to their position. So if somebody is too much attached to post and position that he has for the service of Vaishnavas, but if you become too much attached for it, out of selfish purpose or like that, that is considered a tendency of devata, that is considered a tendency of a demigod, like that. Karma mishra bhakti it is called as. Karma mishra means there is attachment of that post and position, like that. But as practitioners of devotional service, we are like, if I am awarded a position, post for service of Vaishnavas, I am very happy to render service in that. But if tomorrow Vaishnavas say, no, you should not be leading this, somebody else should be leading, we are fine, We take up another service, like that. We can accept another service. So, whether post or no post, we are attached to serve actually. If we have the post position, very nice, we will utilize it. If we don't have, still okay. There is always some service available, like that. So, that's why devatas, although they are attached devotees, but still they should be respected. And here, seeing Lord Shiva as a devata, we see that Daksha should have respected, but because of his envy, he ended up in that manner. Towards the end, then finally Prabhupada, I'll end with this now. Towards the end, Prabhupada speaks also about importance of Sankirtan Yajna over all other processes. Prabhupada says that in this, there are 33 crore devatas mentioned in the Vedas, like that. So Prabhupada says, in your karma kand, yajna, sacrifice, if you displease even one, finished, like that, right? Even one is displeased, then you are at loss. So that's why best sacrifice is Sankirtan Yajna. Prabhupada always taught us that this is the best sacrifice, where we satisfy everyone. Prabhupada gave example of like watering the root of a tree. If you water the tree, how many leaves you can water? One leaf. If you try to water, what will happen? You have to water the tree for 1 hour because you are watering one leaf. So the process is you water the root, and then all the leaves are satisfied. Similarly, if we perform Sankirtan Yajna, all the demigods, all the sages, all the devotees, everyone is satisfied. That's basically the process, like that. So that process is better than performing any kind of yajnas or performing any kind of impersonal, meditations or anything. This is the best process. Prabhupada also gives practical aspect that one should perform this yajna by chanting Hare Krishna and offer some prasadam. Any function in ISKCON, Prabhupada always taught us that there is chanting of the holy name and there is also distribution of prasadam. Before coming to Krishna consciousness, I used to go for meditation in one impersonal kind of meditation. So they used to teach us to chant Soham. This is a popular chant. Soham, 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 and like this they would make me chant for 1 hour, like that. So 1 hour they would chant, and by that end of that Soham, Soham, I was so hungry, so hungry that I would ask, so is there some kind of refreshment? I said, no refreshment, get lost, like that. We are teaching you meditation, that itself is good enough, no refreshment. So I used to leave after Soham so hungry, like that. So first thing that struck me when I came to Hare Krishna was that I came for the program, and then as soon as the program was over, this feast, like that. So it was such a contrast experience for me that here we see. So I said, this is for me. Meaning this is for, this is for you, they said. And I was taking little bit, in India, prasad means you take little bit. So they said, no, not like he's putting full plate of prasad. So it was a completely different experience, So as Prabhupada is writing here, very amazing, prasadam and holy names. So immediately, so then I forgot the Soham meditation, like that. And from Soham, I learned Dasoham. I am the servant, like that. So this way. So this is actually Prabhupada's mercy and glory. So I think, yes, we can stop here. So how Prabhupada is analyzing this purport in this manner. Hare Krishna. Grantaraj Srimad-Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Any quick comments, questions? Yes, Prabhu.
You mentioned that for the live stream,
yeah.
this is watching on live.
Yeah.
So you also can hear question. You mentioned that in India it's common that people try to say everything is same.
Yeah.
And recently, very often I've seen Indians, they're boasting that in Hindu religion you can be atheist, you can be karmakanda, you can be jnani, you can bhakti, everything, no problem.
Yeah.
So they're trying to include the atheists as being part of Sanatana Dharma somehow. But maybe you can give a few comments shortly, like because Charvaka and Ajivika, they're this two famous. They're kind of traditional, but somehow they can be considered part of Sanatana Dharma, or they're actually outside.
Outside.
Or they're criticizing. What's the idea?
Yeah. Yes, Prabhu. If you see these terms, no, Prabhu, Astika and Nastika, these terms are there in the Vedas. So now, literally, Astika and Nastika, they can be interpreted See, basic understanding of Astika is one who believes in the Vedas. And Nastika is one who doesn't believe in the Vedas. So now Astika is often translated in English as theist and Nastika as atheist. That way. So those who don't accept the Vedas, they are not considered to be the followers of theism. They are considered 100% atheists. Like in the Vedic context, the Charvak or Buddhism and Jainism, these three are considered to be the Nastika paths. They are atheistic. They are atheistic because first and foremost, they don't accept Vedas only. They have rejected the Vedas like that. Now, if you accept the Vedas, you are considered Astika. You have the faith in Vedas. Now, but within that also, there are so many different philosophies where the personal God may not be accepted. You have an understanding of an impersonal God, impersonal absolute truth. So, that is the second application of these words like Astika and Nastika. Suppose if you don't accept a personal God, like in the path of impersonalism, Mayavad, it doesn't accept a personal God. Everything is Brahman, just impersonal God. So in that case also it will be considered, this is like second meaning of that word atheist. That's why Prabhupada calls Mayavadis as atheists. Not that because they reject the Vedas. No, they accept the Vedas, but they don't accept a personal God. Within the Vedas, they have this hazy understanding that everything is impersonal. So, yeah, that's why as far as Charvak, Buddhist and Jainists are concerned, by their rejection of the Vedas and also because they don't accept any personal God, so they are certainly atheistic paths, all of them. When it comes to Vedic fold, if somebody is not accepting a personal God like Vaishnavas accept, then also we may call them as atheistic, like a Nastika. But when you use that word, that meaning is clear in your mind, what you mean by them. That it's not that they don't accept the Vedas. A Mayavadi will also speak from Vedas. A Karmakandi will also speak from the Vedas. A Nirvisheshvadi will also speak from the Vedas. So in that sense, they are Astika because they have accepted the Vedas. But because you don't accept a personal God, you are an Astika. So like that, the words have different meanings over there. So Prabhupada says that, see, all these paths within the Vedas, Karma Kand, Jnana Kand and everything, it's like gradations, like 5th standard study, 5th grade study or 10th grade study, graduation, post-graduation and PhD, like that. So when somebody says, well, anything is fine, you can take up anything within the Vedas, that is okay. But it is as good as saying, well, you can settle with 5th grade or 7th grade or 8th grade or PhD graduation. But we still know that PhD is the highest, right? One can decide in his life what education to settle at. But that doesn't mean all the education is just one thing. No. One who is PhD is most qualified, So the process of bhakti is like that, PhD, subject matter. So within the Vedas there is gradation. It makes sense, bro?
My question is like...
My question is because Indians or Hindus, they want to prove how inclusive, universal, inclusive Sanatan Dharma is.
Correct.
And then they're saying, yeah, you can also be an atheist, you can still be Sanatan Dharma follower. So do you agree or disagree?
No, this is not correct. Yeah. I mean, if somebody says they can be atheist and they are still followers of Sanatana Dharma, that's not correct. That's not right. Yes. Okay, Prabhu. Any of you need to leave for service, please go ahead. I'll just take Prabhu's question and stuff.
Thank you, Kanai, Krishna Prabhu, for the inspiring lecture. I would like to ask if, for example, I'll offend a Vaishnava and then afterwards I try to beg for forgiveness of obeisances. Is then this apparat completely cleared and will I get no reaction, or might there be some leftovers or some reaction afterwards?
Yeah, so Vishwanath Chakravarti speaks about this in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. So he says that if a Vaishnava from his heart forgives one, so then there will not be any reaction which will come like that. So, but if we end up displeasing or hurting the heart of a Vaishnava, so he or she may not intend to punish us in any way, but Krishna takes that a little bit seriously. But if from the heart it's forgiven, then it's fine. Then you don't get a reaction. So Vishwanath Chakravarti says that the miseries in a devotee's life, they are, one of the reasons of that is because one might be a little bit offensive, to devotees. It's not so much out of karma that in a devotee's life misery comes, but it comes because of few reasons he mentioned. So one of the reasons is also Krishna gives a little bit of misery in a devotee's life because one is not very careful with Vaishnavas. So that is one of the reasons also. He says that the dukkham tu Ishvara dattam, the dukkha is given by the Ishvara, by Krishna himself. Because of what? Because of aparadhas, that way. So, yes, Prabhu. So if a Vaishnava forgives from the heart, then it is not. Yeah. Hare Krishna. Okay, we stop here. Yes. Yes, Prabhu. Quick. Any comment?
One question, Prabhu, if you allow. Thank you very much. In previous chapters, there is a description of Lord Shiva's created demon, Virabhadra, and how he attacks Taksha. And it's described there that he tried everything with different kinds of weapons and even mantras, but couldn't harm him. And then he saw this installation for killing the animals for a sacrifice, and with that it worked. So I was asking myself, he must be a really powerful demon, and he used every kind of possibility he had himself. Did not work, but this installation worked. How is it to be? What was the special thing at this installation that worked, but the demon's weapons did not?
I can take a look at commentary. I haven't. Right now I don't remember that context. Yes, it's there in the prior chapter, but maybe I can take a look in commentaries if there is some answer for that. Yeah, he took Daksha to the place where it's butchered, and then that's how he could do it. Yeah, is there any specific reason mentioned? Nothing comes to my mind. Maybe I'll check.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry, it just reminded me of one more question I had about this chapter in general, because Brahma often glorifies Shiva there as Supreme Lord, or he ordains the spiritual world, hell, and everything. Is this because Shiva is actually Vishnu, or is this
See, this is a standard phenomenon in Bhagavatam. Vishwanath Chakravarti also explains everywhere that whenever Lord Shiva is glorified as Supreme Lord, so he is glorified as Supreme Lord as Gunavatar, as somebody who is, incarnation of Supreme Lord as somebody who is presiding the mode of ignorance, that way. So Lord Shiva, we know that he is basically, as in the spiritual world, he is Sadashiva, and in the material world, that Lord Shiva comes as Rudra, and the Shiva that we have here is one of those Rudras, So he is actually Supreme Lord only, but in touch with the mode of ignorance, That's why it's like Prabhupada gives, Brahma Samhita gives example of milk and curd, right? So Lord Shiva is not a Jiva, that's the point. Lord Shiva is Ishvara only, But he is Ishvara who is in touch with the Tamoguna, material mode of ignorance. That is his specific quality, like that. So that is why Lord Brahma is glorifying him in that particular manner. So as somebody who is empowered by the Supreme Lord to do these things, these creational elements and all that. In all such prayers, in the beginning only Acharyas clarify, saying that Lord Shiva is being equated here because he is incarnation of Supreme Lord. It's not that he does these tasks, but he is being equated like that. So typically they'll put in the beginning only they'll put that disclaimer, Even in the churning of milk ocean, that section you will see how he is glorified is like, you are only supreme, you are only everything. But we know that he is glorified like that because of he being a guna avatar, that way. That's the reason. Yes. Hare Krishna. Granthra Srimad-Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you very much.
Sorry for any mistakes or anything.
No, it's very appropriate.